No, so Lexo, so I'm out here. Hope everybody's doing good. I know you've been trapped in your house for I don't even know how many days now, how many months, how many years it feels like. Some of us are hella bored. Some of us are utilizing our time wisely. Some of us are just, I don't know. But anyways, hope everybody's jazzed. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody's killing it today, and I don't know, any day. But today we're just gonna discuss why I joined MMA, what I love about it, and kind of just my experience through like my first week. So growing up, if I look down, like I got notes, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a pro, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, just to make sure I don't miss anything. But anyways, when I was a kid, I played a whole bunch of sports, did a whole bunch of things like that. You know what I'm saying? I was extremely competitive. So I played swimming. I mean, I played swimming. I did swimming, karate, soccer, boxing, for like one night. My dad like took me down to like this boxing gym downtown. I was like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7, something like that. I don't know. I was mad young and I was just like, I was mad shy when I was a kid. And I feel like I was just kind of thrown in these experiences all the time with like productions and like sports and things like that. I was like mad uncomfortable, but that experience was like super uncomfortable. I remember like there wasn't like any kids or anything there. Nobody was there. It was like, I don't even know. It was like 8 or 9. I don't know. Maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. But it just seemed like it was dark. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like in the basement. And I was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be here. I didn't really want to do it. And I just remember I was kind of just hitting the pads with this guy, this older guy. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was just kind of like BSing. You know what I'm saying? I was just kind of like, I don't want to do this, and that's the thing. Like, I want my kids to, get into MMA or get into wrestling or, something. Um, but that's kind of what I feel like will happen is like they're all jazzed up about it. And then when it gets down to it and they get in front of my coach and get to, doing their thing, I feel like they'll shut down and just, and in that environment, like we don't have time for that, So with time and age, they're still young. Yeah, anyways, like I said, I did boxing, basketball, um, street football, of course, you know what I mean? I always wanted to do real football. Everybody was like, you'd be nasty, like, but I was just afraid to break bones. When I was a kid, I was straight, like, I don't know. I was a pretty boy. I got a lot of the girls, things like that. So, like, I don't know. I wanted to maintain all that. I feel like there was a point in fifth grade, where I thought about boxing again, and I was dating this girl, and she was like, "Nah, my cousin, he boxes, and his face is all squished in." And it was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, "This face, nah, that's dead." You know what I'm saying? But it was just, I was young and dumb. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. Uh, I did kickboxing for a little bit. I remember my first night kickboxing. I was in a facility for troubled youth, and we went on an outing to a kickboxing place. And I remember like there was this female kickboxing instructor, and we're running like intervals and like doing like time drills and things like that. And I just remember, man, it was, man, and it was just a warm up, and I was done. It was a wrap. I was like, man, I can't do nothing else. And then it was just like, yeah, that's just a warm up, and now we got to run up and down the stairs in the stairwell, blah blah blah. And yeah, it was an experience. It was crazy. Like I was definitely not like in shape or ready for that at all. Then I also did track for a little bit. Growing up, I was mad fast, mad fast. I'm still quick. Like if somebody was to run with me, but like I don't know, I haven't really ran that much in a long time. Like so, I don't really know. Distance wise, not that great, but it takes a lot to keep up with me though. Like I'm fast. I remember one year for school, and I had never ran track yet. It was like fourth grade, I believe, and they had like this thing where they were trying to call different schools out to see who wanted to meet up for like a track event to see just to represent your school and run for your school, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. And trying to remember, it was like the 800 or the 400-meter dash or something like that. I can't remember. It was like, I don't know, like a few times around, whatever. And I just remember like I killed it first 2 times around, blowing it, first, if not second, you know what I'm saying? Keeping a pace, running strong. And I would, and I don't know, like I never knew what it took to be a runner. But anyways, that day was very humiliating, and I was humbled, heavily humbled. I had came in last, dead last. And I remember like I was trying to quit and I was like telling the coach, like I had a heart murmur, you know what I'm saying? I almost died a couple times, which I did, you know what I mean? But I was just so out of it, you know what I mean? Like I was gassed, you know what I'm saying? Point blank period. And it was funny because he's like, I don't care, you know, if like whatever happens, if you come in last, whatever, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna finish this race, like you're gonna finish it, period. If you have to walk, I don't care, you're gonna finish it. So I finished it, came in dead last. Girls, everything came past me, blew past me. It was, it was a very humbling experience. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like I said, when I was a kid, I just did a whole lot of different things. And I think like my favorite thing now that I did when I was a kid is probably swimming. I love swimming. That's like one of my second things. I like when I'm in water. Period. I love it. They call me the shark in the water. When I was trying to get into the military, I wanted to be a rescue swimmer for a while. And then I cracked into the Navy SEALs and I wanted to do that, but I'll make a vlog about that in a whole nother day, and all that. But mad respect for the military. If there's a day that I can actually enlist and everything, like, and things follow through, who knows, you know what I mean? Like, I would definitely do it. But there was a point in my life where I was locked up, I was getting in trouble, I was doing things, trying to prove myself. Um, I went through a lot of abuse as a kid, a lot of like negative things within the home. And then there was a point where I realized, I don't have to take this, I'm going to stand up for myself. And in standing up for myself, I feel like there's a point to where, you start to see results. You start to see them back off a little bit. You start to see them not punch you in the face, all the time, or not like, just not be so grimy and just do some just shady stuff that parents shouldn't be doing to their kids, And I think there was a point to where that got used against me. Um, and I ended up serving some time, whatever. I'll talk about that in another vlog because I feel like that'll help a lot of people. And I feel like I really want to inspire people by my life story. I have so much to tell. Um, But while incarcerated, I just feel like in my whole life, I was that guy. In school, I was the guy. I was like, I always felt like the man. Uh, and I never really been in a whole lot of fights in my life. I never really felt like I was the one testing people. No one really tested me like that. You know what I mean? And it got to a point in like freshman year. I mean, I feel like I was borderline bully. You know what I mean? And I hated that about myself. But it's just, I feel like everything just went to my head. I'd always been cut. I'd always been like the strongest kid, like the most, the biggest, as far as muscle wise built in school in my class. And I just think all that kind of stuff went to my head. So yeah, like when I was locked up, it was a whole nother world in there. And I had to learn, I had to learn the ropes. I ended up going upstate for a good minute. I ended up serving 3 years total. While I was upstate, tried as an adult, I mean, there was people in there, grown men, etc. And I was still a kid. So it was rough, you know what I'm saying? And I had gotten in fights and stuff like there. And basically, long story short, there was just certain things in there that I feel like put me in a mental predicament that I felt like I wasn't nothing anymore. You know what I mean? And part of that is just the dynamic of being locked up. When you're locked up, especially if like people look up to you or if they like are like, oh, I want you to have my back, you know what I'm saying, etc. Um, it's very hard when you lose a fight or if something negative goes against you in there. It's very hard to regain that status. And I don't know. And I feel like dealing with that kind of just put me in a really rough spot, growing up and just feeling like I was like, I don't know, just constantly being thrown under the bus and just being demeaned. Like everything was just so demeaning towards me. And I think that's the right way to put that. I don't know. Maybe I said that wrong. I don't know. But I just feel like I was just constantly put down, and made to belittled, made to feel so small. And that situation didn't help at all. And I just feel like when I got out, there was a part of me that just needed almost like a reassurance that like I still could fend for myself. I could still fend for my family. I could still protect, the people that I love, and I feel like there was still a lot of self-doubt in that area. I feel like I had a lot of self-doubt within myself. And I think that that's what it boiled down to. and I couldn't figure out, what I wanted to do. At first, I wanted to be in the, going to, like I said, going to the Navy SEALs. I feel like that was gonna kind of break certain fear habits that I had built up from being locked up and going through certain childhood things that I'd went through. I feel like it was kind of set me free from that and kind of remold and reset my brain in a different way. I did ROTC throughout high school. I loved it. I got presidential. I ended up getting like certain awards and stuff, little pins and things like that for a lot of different things. I went out to Fort Pickett, I believe it was, out in Virginia. We ran the courses, did a little boot camp and stuff out there. Also got presidential while I was out there. That was a great experience. I think it was out in Buffalo, New York. I slept on a naval ship. Got to go on a submarine and stuff out there. That was pretty awesome. And my papi was in the Navy for a long time, so I just really wanted to be in that environment, be in that mode, and that was probably the most proudest part of my life when I actually went to the recruiter, signed up, took the ASVAB, did all the processes and stuff, and really felt like somebody for once in my life and felt like people were proud of me and looked up to me for something that was positive, that I felt good about deep down. So like, I don't know, I noticed like my first day when I did MMA, when I finally got the nerve to call the coach and be like, "Hey, I want to come to your beginners class or whatever, you can, fit me into. I'm down. I want to try it out." So, of course he said, "Come on down, you can sign some papers, and we'll talk, we'll figure out where your head's at, what you want to do, if you want to compete, etc." So I was excited at that point. Like I got off the phone and I'm just thinking like, you know, what did I just do? And I was just super excited. I went and I told my wife, I was like, yo, I'm about to start this MMA. I've always wanted to do it. I finally just got off the phone with him. I'm super stoked, blah, blah, blah. So I go the next day and, I go through my first class. I get out of class, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I feel like there was a part of me that expected to hear somebody or, at least hear from my wife, like, "I'm proud of you." I wanted somebody to say, "I'm proud of you." And it took me getting through the first week and going through certain things, when you first start MMA, there's all like your first week is the hardest week. Your first week is what sets people apart. Your first week is what's gonna make or break and really show you if this is really what you want to do. Uh, if you're mentally strong enough to deal with it. I don't know. I don't really know how to word it exactly other than that. It's just like I feel like that's like the testing ground was like week one for me at least. But I had to once week one was over with, it just kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of realized to myself like I had to be proud of myself. I was doing it for myself, and that was the biggest realization after I got through week one, was that I was doing it ultimately for myself because I didn't quit. You know what I'm saying? If I was doing it for somebody else, I feel like I definitely would have quit. I got injured on day one. I ended up rolling my ankle. The only other time I ever went through something that felt that bad was when I caught my ankle skateboarding. I used to skateboard a lot, and I ended up getting like concussions and like all types of crazy stuff skateboarding. I used to snowboard too, but I was doing a trick one time, caught the bottom stair and rolled my ankle, tore my ligaments in my ankle, and then I rolled that same ankle. Somebody rolled over it, and I rolled it on my second day of training. Yeah, I believe it was my second day of training. We were like tossing each other over each other's shoulders and stuff like that, learning some kind of technique. I'm not particular on names yet. I'm still learning names. We're getting like proficient at names. I don't want to give out wrong information, so I don't want to even say anything. But anyways, so yeah, same ankle, and that was extremely painful. But yeah, I worked through it. You know what I mean? I remember going home and being so sore from thinking I was in shape and then going in there and being broken down and realizing like, man, I was nowhere near in shape. And I had conditioned a little bit, because I was doing a little bit of stuff, here and there before just to try to make sure I didn't walk in there looking like a fool. Because I learned from kickboxing, you're going to be doing stuff like out of the box, that pushing your body to limits that like you're not used to pushing yourself. And I feel like that's kind of like what week one consists of, is just learning and embracing the pain and embracing and learning to love it. It's not a pain in the sense of like what you think, like, oh, I'm being stabbed in my throat. You know what I mean? Like, but like I remember the first time I rolled, it was terrifying. I didn't know how to conserve my energy. I'm gassing out. I'm feeling sick to my stomach sometimes. My anxiety was through the roof. Growing up as a kid, like I said, I went through child abuse and certain things. So there's certain scenarios where I was pinned down by my dad and he choked out and things like that. So, when you're learning like the jujitsu part of it and you're learning certain submissions, you're going to get choked. And like my first week, I was choked, over a dozen times. And you learn to love it. You learn to embrace all of that kind of thing, those things, and you learn to defend against it. You learn how to make move. I don't know. Like it's kind of like what's the most fun thing I guess is it's almost like a puzzle. Every day is like you're piecing another piece of the puzzle to something huge and extravagant that you can utilize and you can see, fully and abundantly. And it's just I don't know. It's kind of a weird metaphor to use, but it's just like every day is something new, and it's always something that like brings everything together as a whole. Like when it comes down to throwing down on the mats, or sparring or anything. You know what I'm saying? Even real stuff in real time in real life. With self defense and things like that. You will utilize it, and yeah. So like my first week was rough, but it was definitely worth it, and it was definitely a learning experience, and it was definitely a humbling experience. But at the end of the day, I just realized, I was doing it for myself, and I didn't quit, and I was so proud of myself by the end of that first week, and I knew after that first week that that's what I wanted to do. That was for sure that that's what I wanted to do. Excuse me a second. Shout out to Rockstar. I drink these religiously. I love these. These are my favorite. These have always been my favorite. The first time I ever cracked one of these open, I was like, man, this tastes like a sweet tart with some carbonation. You know what I mean? That was what I always tell people is that this tastes like sweet tarts with carbonation. But I drink these at least 3 times a day. It's part of my supplement regimen, against doctor's orders, of course. But shout out to Rockstar. So another reason too is my kids. I got 4 kids. I have a big family, and they look up to me in a lot of ways. And I just feel like my whole life, I've wanted a family. I've always been that weird friend in the group that's like talking about a family in like high school, while everybody else is like, man, I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, and I've always just been a homebody. It's still to this day. I don't really party and go out and do a whole lot of that extra. You know what I'm saying? And it's kept me out of trouble. I feel like I learned a lot when I was a kid. Uh, chasing highs and experiences and things that probably weren't the best thing for me, and I learned from it. You know what I'm saying? I went to jail. I went to juvie. And I've been in a lot of crazy situations. But yeah, like my kids are my everything, and I just want them to have something solid to look up to. I feel like my whole past has been something that like I've focused way too much on, and it got to a point where I feel like it made me, a certain person through layers in my life. And I've talked with my coach before. We like to use this metaphor of like, layers in an onion and the onion effect, and just peeling back layers of yourself. And I just feel like I've had to peel back layers of myself, and I've gotten to a point now where I'm proud of who I am. When I look in the mirror, I'm proud of who I am to my kids and who my kids are looking up to. And I just want to continue that journey, you know what I mean? And I just feel like through MMA and through getting healthy and through fitness and, through my journey and to making that you know, a career, and making that something I want to do and the longevity, is something amazing. When I think about my kids in the crowd, or my kids watching me, and seeing me win and, my arm being raised and me, doing it for them and not only doing it for myself, of course, but doing it for them it's an amazing feeling deep down inside. And obviously the money, once you start getting in like the big thing, obviously I have dreams of being in the UFC or being in like Bellator down the road. But I got to build my card. Obviously, in anything in life, you want to build your resume. And that's kind of just what I'm trying to do right now. Is I'm just trying to train hard, trying to get myself together. I've been training for a few months. I'm not even at a year yet, but I feel pretty good about what I've been doing and the things I've accomplished. I feel really good about my coach. Shout out to Hooligans Gym. If you're ever in Ohio, look up Hooligans Gym. I'll put the link down in the description below. But yeah, check out Hooligans Gym. I love my coach. Everybody there is like family. And I just feel like it's just like a great investment, and I'm glad that I did it. Super glad that I did it, and I'm just super excited to see where it goes. You know what I mean? Like the sky's the limit. But yeah, week one, if you guys ever want to start MMA, be prepared for week one. Week one's gonna, be that test, but you guys will make it through it. I believe in you. Don't let me, steer you away or scare you or anything like that. That's not the point of this video. I just want you guys to kind of understand why I did it, kind of some of what my experiences were when I first started, and I'll probably go into more depth with that in some other videos about certain things with my experience with MMA. But thus far I love it, and I'm, like I said, I'm glad I did it. And yeah, hope you guys out there, if you guys are thinking about doing it, make that call. But definitely do your research on gyms. Do your research on gyms. And do your research on coaches as well. Check their resumes. Make sure, oh, excuse me. Make sure they have a good, fight history as far as like people they've trained, people that have trained within their gym. Their gym has a good, rapport. Et cetera, et cetera. Because down the road, you got to understand that like you represent them and they represent you, within a whole, you know what I mean? And there has to be that respect. And you also just have to understand like, you don't want to be represented by something, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you guys aren't stupid out there. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up just a little bit. Kind of got drawn on a little bit long, but no Soul XO. Hope you guys are gonna have a great day today and a great rest of the week. Make sure you subscribe. I will be posting more videos, of course, and more content when it warms up and this, being locked down, diminishes and everything. I'll post a lot more cool videos. I'm gonna try to talk with my coach about trying to, post some technique videos so I can teach you guys some techniques and things like that of that nature. But yeah, keep on training. If you're like I said before, if you're thinking about getting into MMA, just make the call. No Soul XO. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. And yeah, no Soul XO.